Sure. So one of the things that I consider, or the thing that I consider actually absolutely foundational to any sort of redesign or content management or migration project is a content inventory. And it's one of those tasks and deliverables that you have to, maybe be a certain kind of person to enjoy doing. It is very data intensive. It's very detail oriented. But it is, in my mind, before you know where you're going to go and how you're going to get there, you need to know where you're starting. And so I think of it as really the starting point of any project is really to understand what you have, where it is, how it's managed now, how it's structured, how much of it there is, and kind of depending on the size of the project and who you're, or sort of what the context is that you're doing it in, you might look for more or less detail there. You might need to, if you're scoping a content management or a content management system migration project, for example, you might need to know everything that exists. Literally, want to know every all of the files, how many there are, because you may be looking at, is this a small project? Is this a big project? Are we scoping this as a consultant? We're often scoping a project to give an estimate to a client for how much work it's going to be, and so knowing exactly what you're looking at is really key up front. If you don't know that and you're surprised later, and you've made a bid and you're working through a project, and you have to go back to a client and say, "Oh, guess what? We missed." 5,000 pages on your site, or we didn't realize that there was this complexity here or whatever. Yep. Those could be really awkward conversations. So that time spent up front, although it's very, for some people it might be considered tedious or time consuming, in the long run, I think sets you up for greater success and make sure that you're not surprised, or your clients are not surprised later when you find things that you didn't realize were there.
So can you walk us through briefly the process of doing the inventory? Just maybe, I'm imagining you have your own great tools that you've invented for this, but if you didn't have those tools and you just had a spreadsheet, what kind of things would you do to do this inventory?
Well, even with the greatest tools, ultimately you are still kind of just looking at data in a spreadsheet or a database. But yeah, I use so I am building a tool that is a content or a site crawler, essentially, that returns data. But there are a couple of other tools out there that people have used up till now, and essentially what you're getting back is a list of files, and going through that and sort of analyzing that, organizing it in a way that helps you understand whatever it is that you're trying to get, whether it's understanding how many videos are on the site versus how many, content pages, or whether you're trying to understand the overall sort of navigation structure of a site, and you're kind of organizing it into kind of a site map to sort of see, where the content is and how it's organized. If you think of the inventory as sort of your quantitative analysis of the site, the sort of how much is there and where is it and what is it, then your content audit really starts to get into the qualitative analysis, and that's where you're looking at the content for other reasons, not necessarily for those sort of structural reasons or for those scoping reasons, but looking at it for business value, and you might be looking at how many content types there are, what the balance is of content on the site, or is it very heavily a marketing site and light on help content, and kind of trying to understand it at that level to then kind of audit it against what those business needs are. Is it actually serving the purpose of the business? Are the people who are coming to that site to do whatever their task is, whether it's to buy something or learn something or enjoy themselves, be entertained, is the content actually serving that purpose? Right. So that's where an audit sort of is much more of like I said, more of a qualitative analysis of what's there versus that quantitative.
Right.
Or
So
yeah,
it sounds like in general, the audit gives you the data, and the inventory gives you the data, and the audit is the analysis. What does this data mean? What do I make from it? And
right.
and now where will I go in order to help you get what you want on your site?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.